Fair use disclaimer.
Doing 200 miles an hour underwater, big as a football field, and that's no fish. There are 5 or 6 deep water areas of the ocean, and he said these are areas where we see a high propensity of these UFOs. So is it possible, given our current understanding of physics, for any man-made machine to go anywhere near 200 miles an hour underwater? Not with our technology, no. The best we have is probably in the high 30s.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, and verse 3. And it reads, "The eyes of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, are in every place, beholding the evil and the good." Shalom. Before I go any further, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that do rule and teach well, that have taught us the correct understanding of the scriptures through the Holy Spirit. Peace salutations to the hopeful elect, 144,000, and the multitude scattered to the four corners of the earth. This is Brother Lawyer with GMS Wisconsin. Lord willing, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, I can edify somebody. So I'm going to try to make this video really quick. I'm going to title it the 3 main purposes of the UFOs, or the Chariots. Okay, because I played a video at the beginning of this lesson of a conversation that took place between the American conservative political commentator, I believe his name, Tucker Carlson, and then you have the congressman, Representative Tim Burchett, all right, having a sit-down discussion, all right, about those UFO crafts that have been spotted going underwater. Okay, because we've been having a lot of chariot sightings taking place in the earth, all over the earth. All right, you got many different countries and many videos that are popping up on social media of, UFOs, what they call UFOs, which we know to be the chariots. All right, manifesting themselves in the air. All right, but guess what? They're also, whether they're being chased or whether they just feel like going underwater, because you have underwater worlds, all right, those same chariots, all right, are being spotted going from the air into the ocean, without slowing down, man. And these chariots, they outpace any known U.S. or foreign technology. All right, that's the type of power we're talking about here. We're talking about supernatural, heavenly technology. All right, the technology to where all technology originates. Okay, and you got to understand something. These angels are interdimensional, man. Okay, they can access water, space, or atmosphere. They don't have any resistance to anything. All right, and like I said, I'm gonna title this lesson the 3 main purposes of the chariots, the UFOs. All right, and those 3 main purposes would be, 1, to watch over the earth. Okay, but the two top purposes that those chariots are going to be used for is, for 1, okay, to deliver the elect of Israel out of coming thermonuclear destruction of Babylon the Great, and secondly, okay, to destroy Babylon the Great. All right, those things are going to be happening simultaneously. When Babylon the Great is being destroyed, all right, those chariots are going to also be delivering the elect, beaming the elect up into chariots, all right, to be delivered from the coming destruction in this place. So I had a little, I went on Google. I wanted to just go into the interview a little bit more, or about, the information that was revealed in the interview here, right? So I'm gonna just go into it. This is on Google. I typed in what did Tucker Carlson speak about in the interview when he was speaking to Representative Tim Burchett. All right, and this is what it said. During the interview, which aired on October 10th, 2025, Burchett relayed information he claimed to have heard from military officials. The key claims were, first bullet point, extraordinary underwater speeds. Burchett mentioned a very high-ranking member of the Navy Salakia described experiences with an underwater object traveling at speeds of around 200 miles per hour. He noted that current U.S. technology can only achieve speeds in the high 30s underwater, suggesting the craft was not man-made. And that's exactly what you have here. You have an interdimensional vehicle, man, okay, that can access any element here on Earth, okay, and have that element under its control, okay? And we're talking about the Heavenly Father working through the angels to do these things, man. You know, and this is one way we know that this earth is being surveilled by the heavenly realm. So let's go back to Proverbs 15:3 and read it again. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. So the eyes of the Lord represent the angels, which operate in those chariots, man. Okay, and they surveil the earth. They watch over everything, man. You know, but this scares Esau Edom, man. And you got to understand, you know, this is literal, okay? The Heavenly Father uses those chariots and, of course, the angels that operate the chariots as watchers, you know, and as they watch the earth, you know, they operate the chariots at the same time. They can cross dimensions, man. You know, and the fact that these chariots are there's increased sightings of these chariots, it pretty much proves their the surveillance, all right, of the fact that these chariots are watching the earth, man. That's why it says they're in every place, meaning they're on the four corners of the earth, in every country, every continent, all right, above every body of water. Those chariots can enter and exit those things, man. Okay, beholding the evil and the good. The Lord sees everything, and that's how he watches the earth, man, through the angel. Let's go back to that information. All right. Second bullet point, it says massive size. The alleged underwater craft was described as being as large as a football field. So those chariots are about big as a football field, man. That's pretty damn big. Just one craft. All right. It says official documentation and scrubbing. In one documented case, military maneuvers involved multiple sightings of UAPs in the air and water. After pilots radioed in, the mission was reportedly scrubbed, and all related internet traffic and data were erased. One official, however, was a wonk who made copies of the evidence before it was scrubbed, and that was ultimately the Lord working through that individual. All right, so that this information can come out. All right, because this is truth, all right, that is on the earth now. And there's really nothing that Esau Edom, the so-called white man, start with the top wicked elite, there's nothing that they can do to stop this from coming out, man. Okay, but why is this information coming out? Why are the governments, you know, somewhat halfway allowing these things to come out, man? Okay, because you got to know, Esau Edom's system, all right, these Western powers, these colonial powers, these Edomite powers, man, they're losing air superiority. They thought they had air superiority, man. You know, they're losing ocean dominance because these chariots are showing them that they have the ability to outmaneuver them, man. You know, so what is the government doing? They're pretty much calling themselves telling partial truth, you know, so that they can condition the public and try to rebrand these angels as what they call non-human intelligence. That's why every time you hear about another chariot sighting, you'll see in the article non-human intelligence, man, because they want the world to think that these are aliens, man. No, these are the angelic forces of the heavenly realm watching over the earth. Okay, so, but the two main purposes of those chariots will be, okay, one, to deliver the elect, and two, to destroy Babylon the Great in that time, man. Let's grab another precept. All right, this is the book of Zechariah, chapter 5 and verse 1. Okay, this is ultimately a vision that the prophet Zechariah had. Okay, he was describing what he saw in his vision. Okay, he saw a divine flying object, all right, in his time. Zechariah 5:1, then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. Okay, so he's not talking about a paper scroll here, man. All right, he's literally talking about something that he saw flying in the air. Okay, and that flying roll is we understand that, all right, here at GMS as a cylindrical shaped craft, man. You know, pretty much a flying, glowing object. That's what he saw when he looked up into the sky, man. He saw a chariot. Okay, verse 2, it says, and he said unto me, what seest thou? All right, speaking about the angel. He said, and I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Okay, because you understand, he was measuring the chariot. All right, the fact that it's being measured and the fact that it flies. All right, these are two facts about it. It says, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Because it appeared suddenly in the sky, man. Which is exactly what we got going on today. These chariots, all right, are doing the same thing today, man. You know, that fits the modern UFO characteristics exactly to the T, man. Okay, so the prophet Zechariah, he saw the same type of crap that people see today. The videos that are surfacing on the internet, that's what he saw with his eyes, man. You know, that divine surveillance that's coming from the heavenly realm, and that vehicle of the angels. Verse 3 said, then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth, going into the fact that these chariots are going to be used to execute judgment, all right, on particularly Babylon the Great. Okay, just speaking for Babylon the Great, because this is a wicked kingdom. All right, it came in wickedness and is going to fall in wickedness, meaning in evil meaning bad time. It says, then he said unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth, and those chariots are a curse unto Esau. Okay, it says, for everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. You know, and that curse ultimately representing judgment. All right, and the whole earth. All right, we understand that the chariots are global. They're all over the four corners of the earth, man. You know, these chariots are worldwide, and they operate across every nation on the earth, man. You know, and a precept that you can link this to is Matthew chapter 24. You know, we're actually going to grab that, because that's how the chariots are going to ultimately deliver the elect out of this place, man. But while the elect are being delivered, Babylon is going to be getting its judgment. That's why it's a curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth, because this is a curse unto Esau. Everyone that stealeth shall be cut off. How did Esau steal? He stole America. All right, through his manifest destiny, through his colonialism, through his imperialism, through his violence, through his bloodshed, through his genocide, through his deception, man. So Esau is going to be cut off. He fits the bill. It says, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. And Esau is known for being a false swearer as well. All right, so he deserves this judgment, man. Verse 4, it says, I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it, talking about the chariots, shall enter into the house of the thief. Meaning what? When those chariots strike, there's going to be a precision strike. Okay? Wherever they strike with those laser beams that come from those chariots, it's going to hit its mark perfectly, man. All right, it says, it shall enter into the house of the thief and into the house of him that swear falsely by my name. So those chariots are going to enter America, man. All right, and they don't have just some regular weaponry on those chariots. We're talking about supernatural, otherworldly laser beams that don't miss their mark. We're talking about chariots that can move faster than the speed of light, man. All right, we're talking about nuclear level fire, plasma like destruction, man. You know, we're talking about fire that can melt entire cities. That's the power that these chariots possess, man. So it says, I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. And that's exactly what those laser beams, right along with the thermonuclear fire, is going to do to this place, man. It's going to destroy it utterly. All right, but the two main purposes, all right, for these chariots will be in these times to deliver the elect and to destroy Babylon the Great. Let's get a future prophecy in the Old Testament of the fact that Babylon the Great, which we know to be America, will be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, and how the chariots, or the so-called UFOs, will aid in that action. Okay, the chariots will be there to execute judgment on this place. Isaiah chapter 66 verse 15, and it reads, for behold, the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai will come with fire. See, the Lord is going to return to the earth, all right, with thermonuclear fire. It says, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. So when the Lord brings thermonuclear destruction to this place, he's going to burn everything to a crisp with those missiles, man. And of course, the laser beams that come from the chariots, which are the vehicles of the angels, the literal vehicles of the angels, man. All right, so that fire we understand to be the thermal weapons. All right, the plasma-like power, and of course the nuclear level destruction that's going to come from those intercontinental ballistic missiles. All right, verse 16, it says, for by fire and by his sword, which we know to be the thermonuclear fire and the laser beams from the chariots, will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. That word plead goes back to the Hebrew word mashapat, which means to judge. So this scripture being a future prophecy, okay, it's a foundational verse, man, for pretty much those chariots having aerial divine warfare. That's exactly what's going to be happening during World War III. Those chariots are going to be zipping back and forth, all right, executing judgment, man. You know, and that judgment is going to be taking place in the skies and even in the waters, man. So the cities of Babylon the Great are not only going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, but also the laser beams from the chariots, man. This is the book of Amos, chapter 9 and verse 8, because the Lord's eyes are on this place to destroy it. Amos chapter 9 and verse 8, and it reads, behold, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth. It's talking about America. Okay, it says, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord. All right, and also that sinful kingdom is talking about the nation of Israel. All right, wicked Israelites. But we know it's also talking about Babylon the Great, because it's set in stone to be judged, man. The judgment of this place is already set in stone. But we know that sinful kingdom primarily to be modern Babylon, which is America, and ultimately the Western Hemisphere powers, man. Okay? And those eyes of the Lord are ultimately those angels that operate the chariots, man, that pretty much monitor and watch over military bases. You know, they watch over the oceans, they watch over the skies, and they ultimately watch over governments that are leading in legislation, man. That's why you see aircraft and, the technology that Esau has. That's why you see them near military bases, man. That's why you see these chariots near nuclear sites as well. It's like, I think I said Esau's technology. What I meant to say was that's why you're seeing these chariots near military bases. Because ultimately the Lord is using the angels to control the military bases, man. And that's why ultimately you see these chariots entering into the oceans. And that's exactly what they were talking about in that video, man, between Tucker Carlson and Representative Tim Burchett. How these chariots have supernatural, unlimited power, man. So when they enter into this place, when that day of destruction comes, those chariots are going to assist the thermonuclear missiles to destroy Babylon the Great off the face of the earth. Saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord, meaning there will be an elect that will be delivered. All right, and saved from destruction, man. Salakia. See? And that's exactly how the elect are going to be delivered. So let's go into the two, we're going to grab at least two precepts to show how those chariots are going to be used for the purpose of delivering Israelites out of coming thermonuclear destruction. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, starting at verse 29. It's titled The Glorious Return. All right, we just showed scriptures of how the chariots will be used in the day of destruction, all right, to execute judgment on Babylon the Great. Well, let's grab the other precepts of how the chariots are going to be used to deliver the elect of Israel out of that coming thermonuclear destruction and judgment. All right, Matthew 24 and 29, red letter, this is Yahushua speaking. It says, immediately after the tribulation of those days, talking about Jacob's trouble, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Okay, and we understand that's talking about thermonuclear destruction. All right, when the sun is darkened and the moon is not giving her light and the stars are falling from heaven, speaking about the thermonuclear missiles. All right, the powers of the heavens being shaken as well. You're having whole empires falling as well. Okay, but the power that Esau possesses, all right, through his military might, all right, through his influence, through his technology, all right, those satellites that you see in the sky. All of that is going to fall, man. That's part of Esau's heaven. That's part of his empire. All of that is going to fall, man. You know, all of his technology is going to be disabled as well. You know, you're going to have military satellites that are going to be disabled, man. You're going to have radar failure. You're going to have government panic, man. Verse 30, it says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. Because this is simultaneously while the missiles are raining down, man. Because it's going to be a hellish time, man. It says, and they shall see the Son of Man coming. Son of Man is who? Yahushua. Coming in the clouds of heaven. What are the clouds of heaven? The clouds of heaven represent the chariots, what the world ignorantly calls UFOs, filling up the sky and infiltrating the earth, taking over the earth, man. It says the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Supernatural power, man. This is ultimately the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Real name Yahushua. And that's what the second coming is going to look like. It's going to be a worldwide so-called UFO invasion, man. Ultimately, except it's divine judgment from the heavenly realm to judge the mount of Esau, man. Verse 31, here's the point. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. See? And that's what everybody is going to see. They're going to see the angels gathering up and beaming up the elect of the nation of Israel out of the coming thermonuclear destruction, man. And guess what? Everybody is going to see it at the same time. Everybody's going to see this place being judged and brought down to nothing, man. Everybody going to see Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, return. Revelation 1:7, behold, he cometh with clouds. Those clouds are talking about the chariots, man. The so-called UFOs. It says, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. So everybody is going to see Yahushua return, even those which pierced him. What is that talking about? All right, those Roman soldiers, all right, that were in the Roman Empire, that crucified him, that pierced him after they whipped him and spat on him and tortured him to death, man. What did they do? They pierced him with a spear to make sure he was dead. All right, and they pierced his hands and his feet as well. It says, and all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so Amen. So it's going to be a hellish time, man. But it's going to be deliverance and joy and tranquility And it's also going to be a fearful time for the elect as well. But when it's all said and done, all right, that's going to be a time of joy. All right, because that means the former things are passed away. The hellish condition of this place, man. Let's grab another precept. All right, this is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. And I'm going to start at verse 16 because, you know, just going back to that video that took place between Tucker Carlson and Representative Congressman Tim Burchett. All right. The representative, the congressman, he spoke about how those chariots, you know, they can go air to water, you know, without slowing down, you know, without splashing, you know, and how they can pretty much outrun any military technology that Esau has, man. Okay. So that right there shows you that these chariots, they're not limited to the air, you know, they're not limited to the land, just like Esau's technology. They're under full divine control, supernatural control, man. You know, those same chariots that the prophet Zechariah saw flying over Babylon are the same chariots that are being, you know, admitted and spoken about by these U.S. officials, by these congressmen, such as Tim Burchett. Because you understand, Esau's scared, man. You know, so these chariots are part of not only surveilling the earth, which I spoke about first, all right, but it's also going to be, these chariots are going to be used to execute divine judgment on Babylon the Great, all right, which is going to be coming with the thermonuclear destruction, all right, but it's also, the third purpose is going to be to deliver the elect. All right, and it's going to be my last precept. 1 Thessalonians 4:16, for the Lord himself, and which you know to be Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, shall descend from heaven with a shout. So he's going to come back to the earth. Okay. It says with the voice of the archangel and with the trump of the heavenly Father. So the angels are going to come down here and beam up the elect into chariots, man. They're going to literally physically enter the earth. Just like the chariots physically enter the earth now, they're going to do the same thing in the day of destruction. Those chariots are going to be used as delivery vehicles, man. All right. Salvation vehicles, if you will. It says, and with the trump of the Most High and the dead in Yahushai shall rise first, those that died in the faith. All right, those that who passed away in the truth, man, they're gonna rise from their graves, you know, and be put in a spiritual body, as it is written in 1 Corinthians the 15th chapter, in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, man. You know, verse 17 it says, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds. Those of us, Lord willing, we part of that number. All right, if we're part of the elect, all right, we're going to be caught up together with them in the clouds. Those that rise first out of their graves, man. Okay, it says to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. That's getting beamed up into an actual chariot, you know. And it speaks about this in Revelation 18:4. It speaks about come out of her, my people. All right, because you're going to have angels that are going to physically beam. You're going to see bodies being beamed up into UFOs, man, in that day. That's the prophecy being spoken here. That's what it means to get caught up together with them in the clouds. The clouds are the chariots, to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. So these are comforting scriptures, man. Verse 18, wherefore comfort one another with these words. These are comforting words. You know, even though we see these world powers, we see the elites doing what they do, we see the prophecies coming to pass, we see Esau coming with his wickedness and his deception. You know, he got his technology, he got all his oppressive tactics and his wicked policies that he's passing. You know, he's targeting the tribes. We can meditate on these scriptures right here, man. These are comforting words to know that the day is coming when this place is going to be done away with. All right, it's going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. And guess what? The kingdom of heaven is going to be set up, man. As a matter of fact, we're going to end it off with 1 Corinthians 15:24. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 24. And it reads, then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to the Most High. See, Yahweh Shai, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power. So when Yahweh Shai comes, he's going to beam up the elect of the nation of Israel, and he's going to put down all rule, authority, and power. Who's in rule, authority, and power? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, starting with the top wicked elite. That's the prophecies that we look forward to, man. All right. And I'm going to end it there. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. So I give them orders to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to you hopeful elect out there.